So let's say you caught your brother and your wife. You caught them, right? Passionately. It was intense, passionate, and probably aggressive because your wife didn't actually agree to it. He forced himself on her and you caught them. What would you do? What would be your reaction? Now, this is not the exact case, but this is Judith's case. Judith is 24 years old. She's married to a man named Marcus. Marcus has another brother called Derek. And yeah, Derek. And we're going to listen to the case together. So sit down, sit tight. And if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe. Stories like this are told for educational and awareness purpose. You need to know what's going on in families. You need to learn signs, patterns. You need to learn the manipulations. So you know exactly when to take action where you sense these kind of dangers. So let's dive in.
Judith was married. She believed she was safe in her husband's home, but the person who would hurt her ate dinner at the same table every night. This is not a story about a stranger in the dark. This is a story about fear inside the family. Judith was 24 when she got married. She wore white. She smiled in every photograph. She thought her life was just beginning. Marcus was everything she wanted in a husband. Hard-working, ambitious, kind. He worked long hours at the construction company, sometimes 12-hour days, sometimes longer. But Judith didn't mind. She was building a home. She was building a future. What she didn't know was that she wasn't just marrying Marcus. She was marrying into a family structure she didn't fully understand.
Now, she was married into a family structure she didn't fully understand. You know, there are families that live together. The first, second, third generation all together in a big house. So everyone, the sons gets married and their wife comes, they stay with them in that house. You know, those kind of families. It's actually a beautiful thing because they get to see each other every day. They get to plan the future together. They work out together. They support each other. If there's a challenge for one person, they make sure the family comes together to solve it. So that's the kind of family Marcus is from, and that is the kind of family Judith got married into. Let's proceed.
Marcus's older brother, Derek, lived in the same house, the family home. 3 generations had lived there. It was tradition, Marcus explained. Derek was the elder. He was respected. He made the major decisions. And Judith? She was the new wife, the outsider trying to fit in. She wanted to be a good wife, a good daughter-in-law. So she smiled. She cooked. She cleaned. She never complained. But Derek noticed her, more than a brother-in-law should. He watched her when she moved through the house. His eyes followed her. When she bent down to pick something up, when she reached for something on a high shelf, when she walked past him in the hallway. At first, Judith told herself she was imagining it. He's family, she thought. He's just there. But the comments started, small ones, about her dress, about her body, about how lucky Marcus was. Marcus would laugh.
These are patterns. These are patterns. The comments started, right? So he started commenting on her dress, what she's putting on. And this happens to be your brother's wife. Comments are good. Compliments are excellent. They are wonderful. But when they become too much, just a little too much, it becomes a problem. These are signs, right? And if you observe these signs, I didn't say, or I'm not saying you should jump into conclusion, but if you observe signs like this, dear friend, do your research, do your investigation. It's important. Let's continue.
Started. Small ones, about her dress, about her body, about how lucky Marcus was. Marcus would laugh. That's just Derek, he'd say. He's always been like that. And Judith would force a smile because she didn't want to cause problems. She didn't want to be difficult. She told herself she was overthinking. It happened on a Tuesday. Marcus was working late again. Derek said he needed help moving something in the storage room, heavy boxes. Judith hesitated. But what could she say? He was family. They lived in the same house, so she went. The storage room was at the back of the house, small, poorly lit. Derek stood too close. She could feel his breath on her neck. His hand brushed her waist. Not an accident, deliberate, slow. Judith froze. Her body locked. Her mind screamed at her to move, to push him away, to run. But she couldn't. She just froze.
Exactly. The way humans respond to danger logically is not supposed, if you want to follow logic. But you see, we tend to respond to danger by either freezing. Most people freeze when they are in danger, when they are shocked, when someone they trust tends to be the one they need protection from. Someone who's supposed to protect them is now the enemy. That shock makes almost every human to freeze. Not all, but most humans, we freeze, right, when they are shocked. And that's exactly what happened to Judith in this case, right? Let's proceed.
She just froze. When the body senses danger, it doesn't always fight. It doesn't always flee. Sometimes it freezes. It's a survival response. The brain shuts down movement to assess the threat. Judith's brain was screaming, but her body wouldn't listen. Derek's hand moved. She felt it. She felt everything. And then he stepped back, smiled. "Thanks for the help," he said, like nothing happened. Judith stood there, shaking, confused. What just happened? Did that really happen? Maybe it was a mistake, she told herself. Maybe he didn't mean it that way. Maybe she was overreacting. So she said nothing. She went to the kitchen. She made dinner. She set the table. And when Marcus came home, she kissed him and pretended everything was fine.
Now that's it. I understand a lot of survivors. Now, if you're a survivor watching this story, you probably have experienced this or something worse. If you're a survivor, if you've experienced this before, and you could tell that you didn't just have that courage to let it out, to tell someone, to tell your husband, or probably you tell your parents, if probably you were assaulted by an extended family member, your uncle, your niece, thereabouts. All right. Now, this is something most survivors do. They tend to keep silent. They tend to play it safe. They feel silence is safety. They feel they don't want to break the family bond. They don't want to be the reason the family gets destroyed or gets divided, right? But I'm telling you this today. You are not the one dividing the family. It is them, the predators, that uncle, that stepfather, that whoever is actually the one who destroyed that family the very moment he decides to assault you. Take note. Take note. Now let's continue.
After that night, things changed. Derek became bolder. When Marcus left for work, Derek would find reasons to be near Judith. He'd walk into the kitchen when she was cooking, stand behind her, too close. He'd comment on what she was wearing, always with a smile, always with that look in his eyes. Judith started avoiding him. She'd wait until she heard his bedroom door close before leaving her room. She'd lock the bathroom door. Even during the day, Derek always found a way. He knew Marcus's schedule. He knew when Judith would be alone, and he used it. The touching became more frequent, a hand on Judith's shoulder when he passed her in the hallway, his fingers grazing her arm when he handed her something, his leg pressing against hers under the dinner table, and the words, "You look good today, Judith. Marcus is a lucky man. If you were my wife." Each time Judith felt sick.
Your brother's wife. You mean you are telling this to your brother's wife? Gosh, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Come on.
But she didn't scream. She didn't tell anyone, because Derek had already planted the seeds. "Don't make this awkward," he'd whisper. "Don't ruin your marriage over nothing. Marcus would never believe you anyway. I'm family. Who do you think he'll choose?" Fear moved into that house, and it never left. Judith couldn't sleep. She'd lie awake at night listening for footsteps, listening for Derek's door to open, listening for any sign that he was coming. She couldn't tell Marcus. How could she? Derek was his brother, his blood. They'd grown up together. They shared everything. What would Marcus say? Would he believe her? Or would he think she was lying? Would he defend Derek? The thought of Marcus defending Derek made Judith feel sick, so she stayed silent.
She's like being caught between the devil and the blue sea. Honestly speaking, she's traumatized. That's just the word. She's traumatized. Derek planted doubt and fear in her. And I don't know. Is it that, drop your thoughts, is it that she didn't trust the husband that much? Because at least if someone tells you something about your husband, you can say, no, that my husband won't react this way. I'm going to take this step. I'm going to tell my husband. If you've had this experience before, or just share your thoughts. Does Judith take some fault in this? Does she have some fault in this? Or should she take some blame? Let us know in the comments.
Stayed silent, and the silence grew heavier. Every day, Judith put on a mask. She smiled at family gatherings. She laughed at Derek's jokes. She pretended everything was normal. But inside, she was dying. She was scared of Derek, but she was also scared of the truth, because telling the truth would destroy everything: her marriage, her home, her family. So she carried the weight alone. She stopped eating properly. She lost weight. Dark circles formed under her eyes. Marcus noticed. "Are you okay?" he'd ask. "I'm fine," she'd lie. "Just tired." But she wasn't fine. She was trapped. Trapped in a house with a man who was hurting her. Trapped in a marriage where she couldn't speak. Trapped in a silence that was slowly killing her. This is why victims stay silent. It's not weakness, it's survival. It's the calculation of risk. It's the fear that speaking would make things worse. Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just makes you more alone.
Exactly. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. I've had an experience similar to this. Not an assault anyway, but an experience whereby I know if I tell the truth, it's going to be something else. Before we dive deeper, please tell us in the comments where you're watching from. You see, stories like this needs to travel, right? They need to be heard. People need to be aware of these signs, right? It may not be between a brother and it may not be between two brothers, but within the families, there are some kind of betrayals ongoing that people needs to be educated on or educated about. Okay, so drop your comments so the algorithm can recommend these videos to others. Like this video and share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Very important. Let's continue.
People around Judith started to notice small things. A neighbor saw her standing outside one afternoon, just standing, staring into space. "You okay, honey?" the neighbor asked. Judith snapped out of it. "Oh yes, I'm fine, just thinking." But her hands were shaking. A friend, Sarah, called one day. "You haven't been answering my calls." "I've been busy," Judith lied. "Are you sure you're okay? You sound different." "I'm fine, Sarah, really." But she wasn't, and Sarah knew it. Even Marcus started to notice. Judith was distant. She didn't laugh anymore. She barely spoke at dinner. She flinched when he touched her. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked one night. "Nothing," Judith said, but her eyes told a different story. Marcus thought maybe she was stressed, maybe she missed her family, maybe she was adjusting to married life. He didn't think about Derek. Why would he? Derek was his brother, his blood. They'd grown up together. They shared everything. Meanwhile, Derek grew bolder. He'd touched Judith in front of Marcus. Quick touches, a pat on the back, a hand on Judith's shoulder. Marcus never noticed. Or maybe he did and chose not to see, because seeing would mean confronting something he wasn't ready to face. The silence was protecting the wrong person. It was a Wednesday morning. Judith woke up and couldn't get out of bed. Her body felt heavy, like she was drowning. Marcus had already left for work. Derek was in the house. Judith could hear him moving around downstairs, and she panicked. Her chest tightened. Her breathing quickened. She couldn't breathe. She was having a panic attack. Her hands went numb. Her vision blurred. She tried to call for help, but no sound came out. Hours later, Sarah found her. Sarah had stopped by because Judith hadn't answered her texts. The front door was unlocked. Sarah walked in and found Judith on the bedroom floor, shaking, pale, barely conscious.
This was the assault, right? This was exactly where the assault happened. And she was shaking. She was traumatized. She was shocked. Her worst fear had become a reality. Sad. Really sad. Let's proceed.
Sarah rushed her to the hospital. The doctors ran tests.
Physically, Judith was okay, but emotionally, she was breaking. A doctor sat with Judith in the hospital room. "Do you feel safe at home?" the doctor asked gently. Long pause. Judith's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, someone had asked the right question, and Judith couldn't hold it in anymore. She broke down. The words came pouring out. Everything. Derek. The touching. The threats. The fear. The silence. All of it. The doctor listened, then called a social worker. That day, Judith's life changed, not because the abuse stopped, but because she finally spoke. The hospital filed a report. Authorities were contacted. Marcus was called. He arrived at the hospital, confused, worried. The social worker sat him down. "Your wife has disclosed abuse," the social worker said. "Abuse?" Marcus's face went pale. "By who?" "By your brother, Derek." Marcus's world stopped. That's not possible," he stammered. "Derek wouldn't—" But the social worker showed him the report, the details, the timeline. Marcus felt sick. He called Derek. "Did you touch Judith?" Marcus demanded. "What? No! She's lying, Marcus. She's making this up." "Why would she make this up?" "I don't know. Maybe she's trying to break up the family. Maybe she wants attention. You know how women are." Marcus hung up. His hands were shaking. He didn't know what to believe, his wife or his brother. The family got involved. Marcus's parents called.
Let me say this. As a survivor, if you've been abused, or even in life in general, you need to have courage. In this case, it was a doctor that probably gave the spark, right? The doctor started the fire, right? The doctor gave an opening for Judith to voice out or to tell him everything that is happening. Shout out to the doctors. Those kind of doctors are the kind we want in our societies, right? They don't just treat our physical body, they treat our soul. Let me say that. They talk to our emotions, because sometimes it is not what we eat that is eating us up, to be sincere. Now, as a survivor, you may not have this kind of privileges. You may not have a doctor like this, or have someone like this. Just have audacity. You hear me? Just have audacity. Okay? Speak up. Go tell your parents. Go tell someone. Tell your pastor. Just speak up. Because your speaking up wouldn't just help you. It will help others. It will stop that predator from abusing someone else. You may not be the first, and even if you are the first and you didn't speak up, they become bold. We heard that in the story. They become bolder, and we don't need such people in our societies. We don't want them here, right? So let's proceed.
You can't let her destroy this family, his mother said. Derek is your blood. Think about the family name, his father added. Do you really want people talking? The pressure was immense. Choose Judith or choose family. But Judith had already made her choice. She wasn't going back to that house. Judith had escaped the abuse, but she had entered a battle. An investigation began. Judith gave her statement to the police, then to a detective, then to a counselor. Each time she had to relive it. Each word felt like a knife. But she kept going, because she knew the truth, and the truth mattered. Derek denied everything. She's unstable, he told the police. She's making it all up. But investigators found inconsistencies in his story. They talked to neighbors. They talked to Judith's friend, Sarah. They talked to the hospital staff. Slowly, a picture emerged, a pattern of control, of manipulation, of abuse. Derek's control was gone. He could no longer intimidate Judith. He could no longer use the family to silence her. Marcus had to make a decision, and after weeks of agonizing, he chose Judith. It wasn't easy. His family was furious. They accused him of betraying Derek, of choosing an outsider over blood. But Marcus had seen the truth. He'd seen the fear in Judith's eyes. He'd seen the way she flinched. He'd seen what he'd been too blind to see before, and he couldn't unsee it. He filed for a restraining order against Derek. He moved out of the family home with Judith, and for the first time in months, Judith felt like she could breathe. Today, Judith is healing, slowly. She's in therapy. She's learning to trust again. She's learning that what happened wasn't her fault. Marcus is healing too. He struggles with guilt. Guilt for not seeing it. Guilt for not protecting her. Guilt for defending Derek when Judith needed him most. But they're healing together, building a new life away from the shadows of that house. Judith lost her peace, but she found her voice, and that voice stopped the silence. The investigation is still ongoing. Derek may face charges. He may not. The legal system is complicated. But Judith doesn't regret speaking up, because her silence was killing her, and her voice gave her life back. Think about Judith's story. Could you have seen the signs? Would you have believed her? Or would you have dismissed it as family drama?
Now, as the case unfolds, I'll keep you guys updated. All right? Now, let's talk. If you were in that family, you are part of that family, or probably you are Marcus, what would you have done? Whose side will you be on? Your brother? You know, stuff like this are difficult. Probably this is why Derek is yet to be charged. Okay? Because they need to know if he has probably done this to someone before. If he has a track record of assault or of assaulting people, right? So those stuff needs to be checked. Just tell me, do you think Judith made this up? He just accused Derek? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. You are really helping this channel if you do so. You can check our subscribers below and you realize we really need you to subscribe. Thank you. God bless.